There are many things determining whether one may buy a certain gaming console over the other, but the biggest reason has to be the exclusive experience that each console has to offer. In this video, I'll be taking a look at both the Xbox One's and the PS4's exclusive offerings in 2016. Also, as a side note, if the game is set to appear on one of the consoles and PC, I'll still give it a mention as it's a console exclusive. Starting off with the Xbox One, the biggest exclusive of 2016 for the console looks to be Gears of War 4. Gears of War is a franchise with a lot of name value. This time around, Gears 4 will be developed by a brand new studio known as the Coalition, opposed to traditional developers Epic Games. It's unknown what Coalition can really do, and it does appear that Gears 4 will be taking the franchise in a different direction, so there's a bit of uncertainty with Gears of War 4. But I think at the end of the day, it will be a good game, but I don't think it's the type of game to get swarms of people to buy an Xbox One if they haven't already. We've already had a Juggernaut exclusive for the console in Halo 5, which resulted in a sales increase, but not by a huge amount. I doubt that Gears 4 will fare any better than Halo 5, but I'm sure it will be a pretty good game. On the other hand, Sony's biggest exclusive of 2016 is by far Uncharted 4, and here's what's very interesting about this. Think about this, Sony has yet to release a gigantic exclusive for their console. Sure, we got games like Infamous Second Son and Bloodborne, but Uncharted 4, as far as marquee appeal goes, it's on a whole other level compared to those games. So the PlayStation 4 is already killing the Xbox One in sales. When Sony gets their first massive exclusive in Uncharted 4, what's gonna happen then? The game's probably gonna sell very well. It's Naughty Dog, so there's a near guarantee the game will be excellent, and right now gamers are much more excited for Uncharted 4 compared to Gears 4, so it looks like to be Sony's year in terms of having that big exclusive that gamers are dying to play. It should be noted that Xbox One gamers will also be getting to play Halo Wars 2 next year, which is a game I'm sure the core audience is going to really enjoy, and the fact that Creative Assembly is developing the game makes it almost a guarantee that it'll be a very good strategy game. But once again, I don't think Halo Wars 2 is the type of game that's going to turn the tide for Microsoft. It'll be a game that Xbox One owners will buy and enjoy, but I don't see it being a gigantic marquee hit. Okay, so those are games that have a long history. What about new IPs? The standout new IP for the Xbox One is Quantum Break, an action time-bending game being developed by the guys that made Alan Wake, Remedy. Quantum Break is a game that has a ton of potential to not only be an excellent game, but also be that brand new marquee franchise for Microsoft. The game is also getting its own TV series, so it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Sony also has a gigantic new IP being developed by one of their own ace studios in Guerrilla Games titled Horizon Zero Dawn. It's really amazing how a developer like Guerrilla, who has a well-known franchise in Killzone, decided to create something so different, but it's also very commendable. Horizon Zero Dawn, just like Quantum Break, has all the potential in the world to be a big series for Sony. It's hard to say how either game will turn out since they're both new IPs, but keep your eyes on them both. It'll be very interesting to see how they turn out, and I can't really make a decision as to which I'm more excited for. So as far as having that new IP for both Microsoft and Sony, I think it's a close race between Quantum Break and Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, both consoles also have other somewhat under the radar exclusives, with Xbox One having games like Recore, which looks like a really cool game, but we don't know much about it. Crackdown 3, which is a series that many were fond of on the Xbox 360 and hasn't gotten a new entry in several years. Scalebound is the new action RPG being developed by Platinum Games, which looks to be a really cool game as long as they can get the frame rate issues worked out. Sony's got games like Ratchet & Clank, which is a reboot of the first game being built ground up on the PlayStation 4. No Man's Sky, which is a game that's been in development for so long, and it's a game that has a real possibility of breaking out and becoming a gigantic hit. Matterfall is a game we don't know much about, but it's being developed by a studio with a track record of great games in Housemarque. And where Sony really seems to get an edge over Microsoft is the fact that since the Xbox One is pretty much dead in Japan, Sony just gets a lot of Japanese games as exclusives on that basis alone. Games like Nier Automata, Persona 5, and while these games aren't big budget exclusives that will sell another million consoles on its own, they're just adding to the excellent library of games that Sony looks to have in 2016. Don't forget that Sony also has PlayStation VR coming out while Microsoft has their HoloLens. Those are two things that can really add to each console, but we really have to wait and see how those things turn out. Because we saw what Sony did with PlayStation Move. They completely abandoned that thing, so it's hard to trust Sony in terms of new peripherals, but we'll hope for the best. So what console do you think has the better lineup of exclusives in 2016? Do you think that PlayStation will edge it out over Microsoft with games like Uncharted 4 and Horizon? Or do you think that the Xbox One will win 2016 with Gears 4, Quantum Break, and so on? Or are you one of those that don't care and will buy both consoles? Let us know in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching.